Hello everybody. I know that this is a little bit probably shadowy, but it's a really sunny, beautiful day, blue sky day, and I don't want to shut the windows. I am so excited about this. I'm going to open this and kind of get first impressions because I'm really excited about this. I actually tried to find this. Miss Christine, she has a YouTube channel called Christine and Celeste. And I'll put a link to that below. I love her channel. I've watched her channel for a long time. I love, she has an accent. I love accents, and hers is particularly wonderful. And she sent, this came in the mail. I didn't know it was coming in the mail, and it came in the mail today. And she said this deck goes amazing with Oracle of Reflections, which is a deck that I absolutely love, and it's in my cubicle for really. I've done quite a few readings with it. I love it, but I really want to sink into it this winter, and so that was, is out even always because I just love this deck so much. And I had seen a while ago, I believe, that she did a video about this. I've got to go back now and watch it. But I remember, and this was maybe even a year ago, I can't remember. I'm very bad with time. Sometimes I'll say a year and it's been 3 months. I'm so bad with timing. But it's been a while. And I remember trying to briefly find it and just not having success, and then forgetting to go back and try again, sort of thing. And so when I saw what this was, I was so excited. Thank you, Miss Christine, because it is so beautiful. She says here in her note, she said it's a perfect match with Oracle Reflections. She said it's more of a divination deck. And it's actually supposed to be really good with past life readings, which I do. And there is actually a spread in here, a past life spread. I'll have to probably do some Google Translate because I don't believe it's in English. And so that was so sweet of her. So I'm really excited to take a look at this little deck with y'all. I mean, look at that. Even with just those ones that you can see right there, you can see that it is French, obviously. France Cartes is apparently the, looks like the website says www.france-cartes, whatever, cards probably, .fr. If you want to try to pick these up yourself. Everything is in French. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Maybe there is English in the booklet, but I think it might be all French. So I don't have my little butcher's knife that you all get upset and nervous when I use, just because it's over by my desk. But let's take a look at this. I'm so excited. So this is, I don't know what, I guess I should find that out, but that would be in English. Because I don't know what this title would be in English, but you can see what it is, and it is by Owlside Nathaniel, it almost looks like, in English anyways. And obviously this is a little bit more, oh, look at these backings. Look, I got, of course, have to blacken the edges immediately. I'll show you that at the end of the video. Look at those backings. And so then the front has black as well. So there's just no question that these will have to be blacked. I'm so excited. Okay, breathe. Let me see here real quick. I may have to go do a little bit of translating. There's not actually too much here. Is there any English? Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. Okay, there is English. I'm so excited about that. So it's very much in the realms of, Lenormand, Sibylla, those type of decks. So you just, you don't need a whole lot, because what does it mean to you is what's, in my opinion, more important, right? So yeah, it has a past life, 7-card past life reading, and then a 3-card reading, and then it has the basic meanings of the cards. So again, like Mildred Payne, Sibylla, these are cartomancy decks. So you don't need pages and pages. So for me, something like this, I just wanted to make sure I knew, what it was. Obviously, once you see it, I think you'll start to just learn that's a tower. Look at how beautiful the artwork is. Okay, obviously watercolor artwork. Let me zoom in here. Oops, wrong way, wrong way. Zoom in here. Look at this. Okay. I did see her walk through a while ago, and I was just blown away by it. Look at, so here we have the Tower, success, strength, courage, determination. I love this, kind of Deste-like in terms of the Tower card, what the Tower card means. And you can see there's no titles, right? And so, you know, in French or English, so it's just the images. It really reminds me of a Lenormand deck that I love, with the tall, skinny nature of it, which I think would also be beautiful with it, which is called Lenormand Oracle, I think. Yeah, it's called Oracle Lenormand. And it's this tall, skinny Lenormand, and it has space. It's got, I don't know, there's something about that use of the skinny space that is really beautiful, that this actually might be really wonderful to read with that as well. That just made me think of it. Sorry, moving back to the item at hand. So this is the Ferryman. I love this. You know, you don't get a sense of a boat, which I would think in terms of the Ferryman, but this is a message. There's a little bit of loneliness here, which you can see, but this can also be a spiritual guide. It's very poignant. The painting style is beautiful and fluid and poignant, that's the words that are coming to mind for me so far. Interesting with this, right? The helmet is about stubbornness, strength of character. You think about also words for me that would come up is protection, right? Because you're wearing a helmet to protect yourself. Things of that nature. What's going to come up for you? And that's what's the wonderful about this type of systems is like, what does that mean to you? When you see this helmet, what does that say to you? Look at that. Oh, I love it. This is the Guardian of the Night. This is an owl. It's about spirituality. Spirituality turned to darkness, distrust, and observation. So this does have some shadow there, depending on, again, what question you're using. But for me, that's the Guardian of the Night itself is so wonderful. We have a train for travel. New start, having patience. It might take a while to get there, that kind of energy, so sort of like a ship in Lenormand. Look at this beautiful bridge. Spiritual connection, a phase, a change, a passage. You're moving generally over water, over something from one place to another, that sense of movement and shifting energy. I love the spiritual connection as well. Look at the candle. Oh, I love her style of painting. The occult, affinity with the occult, and communication with the afterlife. So using that candle in terms of, excuse me, occult communication. Of course, again, with the candle, there's so many things that could mean to you. It's that light in the dark. There's all kinds of things that I think, associations that you could come up with, because there's nothing on here saying what it is and what it isn't. So what does that say to you? Here's a beautiful ship. It's called the sailboat, but excuse me. I am a big fan of ship cards in Lenormand. It's one of the things I look at in a Lenormand deck, and I love this ship. Now, we do have the train, which to me would be faster maybe than a ship. But this has long travel and waiting and transformation, whereas the train was just travel and new start. So the patience I might have a little bit more with the ship myself, because it's more fast travel and longer travel, which I like having. I have in my charm casting, I have a plane for fast travel and then the ship. So that works really well with the way that I read also. I'm sorry, my phone's going off over there, and this is gorgeous. I mean, I've painted a lot of lighthouses that look similar when I was practicing. I mean, excuse me, not look similar like hers or practice, but it's a beautiful image to use to practice with watercolor painting, and this is stunning. Oops, let me go back here. So lighthouse, support, friendship, trust, help, possibility, you know, that light, and again, that light shining in the darkness, calling you home. It's a beautiful image and symbol to work with. Here we have the soldier, but look at its departure, its heroic personality, heroicism, battle, protection, so many things that you can do with this imagery. Again, adore her painting style. It also has as its spiritual visit. One of the things that I'm noticing, but yeah, a lot of these style decks, so that are Lenormand style, Sibylla style, Kipper style, are kind of known for being very practical, although I do a lot of spiritual readings with Lenormand and any other system. But I will say that this one seems to be, have a lot of keywords directly relating to that, which is pretty cool. Beautiful. Again, when you see these images, they're just beautiful, and again, the word poignant just comes through. There's just something about the art style that's just gorgeous. I love the staircase, new horizons, possibilities, spiritual, social, and professional rising. There's a card similar to this in Deste, or looks similar. I think it's actually just a doorway, though, that you're opening this door to new possibilities. I love this. Love, love, love this so much. Christine. The bell tower. Now this is interesting. Brutal change, choice, destiny, religion, and fate. I can see the brutal change, like you're ringing the bell tower. And can we just pause for a moment? Can we pause for a moment? 1 second. Okay, growing up, this is a book that my dad had, literally growing up since I was a child, The Best Loved Poems of the American People, and it became mine once I was able to read. It never left my bedroom, and when I left the house and was married, I stole it and took it with me, and eventually in 1989, I was married in 88. I'm so bad. But anyways, my dad gave me my own copy because clearly he wanted his copy back. But it's a very special thing for me. But you can see there's lots of, I fold the ends of corners of things, so they are all folded. Often where I like, the one that was my dad's actually is much more because I had that all my life, but I made good headway on this one. But this poem, or this card, so the bell tower, of course, it made me think of one of my absolute favorite poems, dramatic story poems. So we're going to have a pause because we can and read Curfew Must Not Ring Tonight by Rosa Hartwick Thorpe. Slowly England's, here, let's keep this up here. Actually, we'll zoom back in on it. How about that? Will be nice and dramatic. I just wanted to tell you the story. And again, I know that it's kind of shadowy, but it's because I want this beautiful light. Slowly England's sun was setting o'er the hilltops far away, filling all the land with beauty at the close of one sad day, and the last rays kissed the forehead of a man and maiden fair, he with footsteps slow and weary, she with sunny floating hair. He with bowed head, sad and thoughtful, she with lips all cold and white, struggling to keep back the murmur, curfew must not ring tonight. Sexton, Bessie's white lips faltered, pointing to the prison old, with its turrets tall and gloomy, with its walls dark, damp, and cold. I've a lover in the prison, doomed this very night to die, at the ringing of the curfew, and no earthly help is nigh. Cromwell will not come till sunset. And her face grew strangely white, as she breathed the husky whisper, curfew must not ring tonight. Bessie, calmly spoke the sexton, and his accents pierced her heart like the piercing of an arrow, like a deadly poisoned dart. Long, long years I've rung the curfew from that gloomy shadowed tower. Every evening just at sunset it has tolled the twilight hour. I have done my duty ever, tried to do it just and right. Now I'm old, I still must do it. Curfew girl must ring tonight. Wild her eyes and pale her features, stern and white her thoughtful brow, and within her secret bosom Bessie made a solemn vow. She had listened while the judges read, without a tear or sigh, at the ringing of the curfew, Basil Underwood must die. And her breath came fast and faster, and her eyes grew large and bright, as in undertone she murmured, curfew must not ring tonight. With quick steps she bounded forward, sprang within the old church door, left the old man threading slowly paths he'd often trod before. Not one moment paused the maiden, but with eye and cheek aglow, mounted up the gloomy tower where the bell swang to and fro. As she climbed the dusty ladder on which fell no ray of light, up and up, her white lips saying, "Curfew shall not ring tonight." She has reached the topmost ladder, o'er her hangs the great dark bell. Awful is the gloom beneath her, like the pathway down to hell. Lo, the ponderous tongue is swinging, 'tis the hour of curfew now, and the sight has chilled her bosom, stopped her breath, and paled her brow. Shall she let it ring? No, never. Flash her eyes with sudden light, and she springs and grasps it firmly. Curfew shall not ring tonight. Out she swung, far out. The city seemed a speck of light below, she twixt heaven and earth suspended as the bell swung to and fro. And the sexton at the bell rope, old and deaf, heard not the bell, but he thought it still was ringing fair young Basil's funeral knell. Still the maiden clung more firmly, and with trembling lips and white, said to hush her heart's wild beating, "Curfew shall not ring tonight." It was over. The bell ceased swaying, and the maiden stepped once more firmly on the dark old ladder, where for 100 years before human foot had not been planted. But the brave deed she had done should be told long ages after, often as the setting sun should illume the sky with beauty. Aged sires with heads of white long should tell the little children, curfew did not ring that night. O'er the distant hills came Cromwell. Bessie sees him, and her brow, full of hope and full of gladness, has no anxious traces now. At his feet she tells her story, show her hands all bruised and torn, and her face so sweet and pleading, yet with sorrow pale and worn, touched his heart with sudden pity, lit his eyes with misty light. "Go, your lover lives," said Cromwell. "Curfew shall not ring tonight." Ah, I love it. I loved it. It gave me chills when I was a little child. It gave me chills as a young teenager. It gave me chills every time I read it. So, yes, we had to have a pause for Curfew Shall Not Ring Tonight with the beautiful bell. But see, that's what I thought of, because brutal change, choices, destinies changing at the hands of the bell tower. Oh, is that pretty awesome? Oh, the pendulum. Okay, I promise I shan't go to all the poems, but there's obviously the Pit and the Pendulum, and the next one with the black cat. But we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it, Kelly. I love pendulums. I have a lot of pendulums. I use pendulums. It has magnetism, dowsing, vibration, energy, sensing energy. For me, this would also be about subconscious, like really tapping into, getting out of your brain and into your subconscious. So I love, love, love that. The black cat is a need for independence, witchcraft, or black magic, or luck, depending on how you see, or unlucky, as depending on how you see it. I see black cats as lucky, actually. We had a black cat named Lucky, but cats definitely have that independence aspect for me. Beautiful key card. This is a gift, spirituality, new possibilities, a spiritual opening, a success when you get the key into the right lock. It's just beautiful. A card called Hope. How beautiful is this? Stable relationships, true love, hope, happiness, and new life. This deck is so beautiful. 17 ruins, nostalgia, memory, pain bound to the past, and kindness to others. So this is a ruins, although it's quite a beautiful set of ruins, right? But it, we can kind of see it looking overgrown and such, more so than we have this light coming through and the stairs going up. This is sort of the opposite of that, when you have that sense of nostalgia and memory. Eternal rest. So we have a death card, basically. Spiritual death, depending on the cards, transformation. It's beautiful. Very strong coloration, right, compared to the other cards. And so it would really stand out as that moment of transformation. I mean, the art, again, the painting is just beautiful. She clearly loves towers, which I love. This is the isolated tower. See, it's kind of walled off. It's on the edge of an island. Divinatory dreams, premonitory dreams, isolation, work on yourself, follow your, so that's different, isn't it? The bell tower is, you know, oftentimes people would ring, so let me get the other towers out here, or the other tower. But oftentimes with a bell tower, you're ringing a bell of warning. Oftentimes if a village was going to be attacked, you know, that then they would ring the bell tower to call everybody to the safety of the walls. So this makes sense with a bell tower. With this gate here in the edge of the water, you do get that sense of isolation, kind of stepping back, a retreat. But I love the idea of connection with dreams as well, and listening to your, stepping back so you have that time and space to really listen to your own self and your intuition and your dreams. Number 20 is the iron body. High protection, power, loyalty, and strength. You think definitely of a knight. You know, that for me is full on knight. Now, I will say, just as first impressions, and I won't know as much until I work with it, that, you know, for me, this feels very knightly as well. Although, to be honest, this feels more like the 300. This feels more like warrior, like going out to battle warrior, where this definitely has that sense of knights, of chivalry, of looking for the Holy Grail, which is a very different, even though they're both obviously warriors, it's a different tonation. And so I think that will work really beautifully. Here we have a riddle. Is this at number 21? The riddle. A mystery. Revealed secret. I guess with the cloth coming away, you're revealing the secret passageway here, which is kind of cool, right? And even just with the lantern, what is a light going to reveal? So I think that's really beautiful. We have the opera for artistic jobs, art, gift for the arts, creation, creativity, and expressing yourself, creativity. I really love that. I love the keywords here. It's very different than many of these type styles of decks are at. So it gives it something different that I think is quite beautiful. Here we have the rope. So we just have a piece of rope. Links, spiritual or physical links, being in need of help, and a bit of instability. It's not really tied to anything. It needs to be maybe tied down. But that idea of what are the things that connect us? What are the ropes that bind us together with people in both positive and negative ways? So that's really beautiful. Look at that beautiful letter card. This is about messages, letter exchange, but then she also puts that connection of automatic writing. So it's definitely a deck geared for spiritual divination, spiritual connecting to spirits and these types of energies. But at the same time, if you didn't want to do it that way, it works beautifully just as the letter. We have an accident here, so it almost like that train that we saw earlier, right? That new possibilities and travel that we started out here. Well, the train's not doing so great here, right? Blocking, a road accident, an occupational accident, just accidents, unforeseen things that happen. This is a tower moment, basically, right? That we have here, which is very difficult given what's going on currently, or what has recently happened currently. 26 is vitality. So this is that beautiful, beautiful flower here. Stability, health, happiness, luck. You've got that sort of flower energy here. Here we have the urn, inheritance, cash inflow, material goods and acquisitions. You know, this urn could be filled with wonderful frankincense or myrrh or some kind of beautiful, expensive oil, right? That idea of something very precious and of value, monetary value there. So that's really beautiful. I did think when I first saw it of an urn, like a burial, you know, an urn with somebody's ashes in it, and that idea of remembrance and that kind of thing. So I guess you could go really either way. 28 is the ladder. This is about choices, mental thinking, decisions, and observations. You're going to climb up that ladder, maybe on the bell tower, to get a better view of things. So being able to see things more clearly, get up and above the situation like I use with the tower for Lenormand. Here we have a beautiful 29 is a premonition. Blackbird, we have a white bird. It's a message of the afterlife, a sense of duality, a premonition, intuition. It could be a fight between these two birds, depending on how you choose to look at it and how it comes up in a reading. But that sense of duality, right? Which duality can be a polarity or duality. It can be push against, or it can be a coming together. It can go either way. So that's quite beautiful. Number 30, here we have as work. So we have the wheat field, right? This is the work that we do. We plant the harvest to help our family. This is success, family, home, job, comfort, harvest, all those kinds of things that go into planting a field, into why we plant fields and the work we put into them. Beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm pulling these off really badly. 31 is the sword, or of course we've got the scales for justice. Spiritual power, confrontation. I don't see confrontation so much here, but that idea of justice, of trial, of balancing the scales, right, with this one. And then lastly, we have a tunnel. This is a new opportunity, light, success, metamorphosis, accomplishments. We've been through this tunnel. We're getting ready to come out into the open, into something new. I will say that there are quite a few, seems for a few new opportunities. So I would probably pick one to to mean that idea of new opportunity, because you kind of see similar energies. Let's compare them. This is just, again, these are my first impressions, so I just try to see where my brain goes. So for example, with these two, let's go back here to the stairs. Number 11, the staircase, new horizons, possibilities, spiritual and social and professional rise. So that kind of going up. Where the tunnel is going through, I probably would leave this for, this is kind of successfully coming out of the tunnel. I see this as more as coming to a sense of accomplishment, that sense of complete metamorphosis, that sense of success that would mean by getting to through the other side of the tunnel. Where this, we're kind of just starting to go up the stairway, maybe leading to the tunnel. So I could read, that's probably how I would read those differently. These are absolutely gorgeous. I am so excited to be working with these. I'm going to pause this and blacken the sides so that you can see why I find, look at those backings. So in love with this deck. One moment. Okay, I am back. Now somebody has asked me, let me zoom out a little bit, and there we go. Zoom back out here. Somebody asked me about whether Sharpie markers came off in my hands, and they don't for me. Now when I first actually do them, because I'm turning and turning while it's still wet, I do get this. But once they're dried, I don't have any issue with Sharpies. Now I'm going to have to go back and touch these up, which is what I usually do. But I want to show these to you. But you can just see, I mean, look at, they're made for that. You've got that black front, black edging on the back. Now, obviously, could you trim these? Yes, obviously, these would be very easily trimmed, but I am kind of a fan of thin black borders, so I don't foresee myself trimming these, but I won't ever say never. But I think they're really beautiful, and they're going to shuffle really nice untrimmed. Okay, so yeah, anyways, my point being that I don't have any intentions on trimming this. I got interrupted, and now I lost track of where I was at. They feel nice. I will say they kind of, to me, feel like Los Scarabeo, because it's got that tall, skinny nature of Los Scarabeo. It's not Los Scarabeo, but it feels like it, and it shuffles like Los Scarabeo to me. I like Los Scarabeo cardstock. If you watch my channel, you know I like mass market cardstock. And especially, I think Los Scarabeo does have really nice cardstock, and their decks are not this maybe thin, but they are always just slightly thinner than a normal deck of cards. And so this has a real nice feel to it. It overhand's got a nice slide to it. It's just really a beautiful deck. This is just a day of interruptions, but I'm so excited about this deck that I'm just going to keep plowing ahead despite it being really poor timing for trying to do a walkthrough clearly. I was just playing with decks. Well, there was one, as I showed you how I thought this would look beautiful with it, and look at how gorgeous that looks. So this right here is the beautiful Lenormand Oracle cards by Los Scarabeo. And I've trimmed these. These did have a white border around them, but I trimmed them. But look at how beautiful they look with that. I believe this is, I would be reading a lot with these together because, holy goodness, they look amazing. This is a much more detailed painting style. It's not as soft wash. It's got a lot of line to it, but they look gorgeous and they stand out because of that. Now, obviously, Christine had said, and I think in her video she talks about this, you know, it looks really beautiful with this as well. Although I think these are quite similar in style of Oracle. Like this is, again, very Lenormandy deck, but at the same time, there is, it's kind of a Lenormand Oracle combo, more so. So these would also be beautiful, although I think they could be used interchangeably. Like circumstances, I might use this are the same that I might use this. You know, they feel similar in a way. Although this does have a very dreamy layer to it. I don't know. These are beautiful. I have to use these a little bit longer before I can tell. But I just playing around while I was on waiting on a office kind of call. I was just kind of playing around with laying those out and love these together. So I did look these up and you can get them on the French Amazon site. I didn't see them on the English Amazon. There is a website on here, www.france-cartes.fr. I think I said that at the beginning, where you can find these. So these are not out of print. It's just obviously in the U.S. or English-speaking places, this may be a little more difficult to find because of that. But I think well worth the hunt. I am very much enchanted. Very much enchanted by this deck already. I think I was talking about shuffle ability. Who knows? I think it's just going to be a little bit of a less smooth walkthrough. But yeah, I really love how they shuffle. So there are a couple readings here in this spread, or in this little paper guidebook. Little white, I mean, this is a little white book. Like, look at how skinny that is. But truthfully, let's be honest, you don't need much more than that for this type of a deck, because a lot of it is on association. What does an accident say to you, right? What does an opera house say to you? These kinds of things don't take a lot. I did see when I was looking for where you could find these that it looks like on his Facebook that the creator has written a larger book that I'm sure was going to be in French, so it's not going to help those of us who don't speak French, but there, you know, he is writing a larger book about this. But he has a 3-card, so just a simple past, present, and future. You know, any ways that you would use a 3-card spread. I think that this, you know, obviously would work really beautifully. So, you know, so always take the easy, should I take this job, right? Oops, I'm upside down. Or I have them all mixed up. So we have the letter, we have the bridge here, and then we have the owl. Now this is interesting, right? Because if we go off of just the keywords that we have here to start with, the letter is that idea of a message. So there's a message, but it can also be a contract. And it even says that here. That's the same as in Lenormand as well. You have the idea of something being written on paper. So right there is a contract with this bridge, which is about a connection or a change or a passage. And so this would indicate that this, you know, this might be a good opportunity. A contract is coming your way. Go ahead and sign that contract. This is going to be a change for you. However, with the 4th card of Guardian of the Night, this does say to be observant, pay attention. And with the contract here, I would say really read the fine print of the contract. This isn't saying not to do it, but it's saying to be a little distrustful. You know, the mouse who's running around at night is having to be a little bit wary, right? So that he doesn't get swooped up by an owl. So it's like, okay, this looks like a good way for you to move forward and have sort of a shift and a change, but just make sure you're watching the fine print. Make sure you're signing what you think you're signing, and everything is copacetic, right? So that's, you know, that's great. I think that works really well. So yeah, I've got these all whopper jawed, and that's going to drive me nuts. So I'm going to have to stop and fix it. So yeah, you can just do them as with a basic 3 card, just as you would any other kind of oracle deck. Which obviously is, I have a whole thing about 3 card readings. They're fantastic. You could definitely do your 3 cards, and then you do and you don't do, like I love. Just while I'm babbling. Okay, so while I'm doing this, then it also has just a 7 card drawing where you lay 7 cards out in a line and just read them. This to me sounded a lot like a Kipper, you know, get there reading, I call them, but they're landing strip or air strip readings that you have where you lay 7 cards down. Because you can pull them up face by face or lay them all out at once. So this is kind of where I do, in my shop it's called the Get There reading, where it's like, here's where you want to get to, how are you going to do that? And you lay first 7 cards, you lay the first 3 upright, so that has sort of the beginning message. And you really want to pay attention to that message first. And then you lay the other 4 cards face down. This just kind of forces you to stop for a minute and pay attention to this message here before you go on. That's why I like to do it. It's actually the only reading that I do where I lay any cards face down, because I don't tend to do that. So we have that rope that we talked about. Where are the, I didn't ask a question, so this isn't going to be, but this would be about perhaps seeing where are the connections to be seen in this situation. Where are the links? Also that sense of, maybe some sense of instability because it's not tied down. And we can see that duality going on here with this, I don't remember what they called this, the premonition. Listen to your intuition. Things aren't really tied down. You need to pay attention to your intuition. The situation's not settled, right? They're not both on the branches. Are they going to fight, or are they going to land next to each other and everything's going to be fine? There's some things that aren't clear here, and so you've got to use your intuition. Pay attention to the signs around you, because the potential here towards harvest and work, because this is the work card, the harvest card, a job offer, right? Right now things are uncertain, but be listening, watching for the signs, because it looks like something may be coming. So again, I should have had a question. It would have been easier. But you go ahead and you'd read that as its message by itself, and then you can continue to turn over. Make sure that you protect yourself, right? Making sure that you kind of set your boundaries. You know what it is. You're willing to go out and get it, but you've got to make sure you're protecting your, especially your head, right? This is a helmet. This isn't a full body, so this is that sense for me, this would be about protecting of the mind, but this is a little bit of a stubbornness card too, so don't be too stubborn, like be willing to be a little bit of flexible, but we do see good things coming with the vitality, good things, happiness, luck, like the great things are coming. Just don't kind of get mired down in stubbornness. We have the beautiful lighthouse. That help might come from unexpected places. There's somebody that might shine a light out there for you to see, to get to, and so we have that sense, don't get mired down. Good things are coming, and it's probably going to be somebody else is going to help you with this situation, and kind of a bringing forward. Things will balance out. The justice will come. So, you know, a little uncertainty here, but, you know, some ways to get there. Again, it's never good to try to do reading when you didn't actually ask a question. But so they have just a 7 card, read it in a line. And these types of decks are wonderful for doing that. And then the last one that they show here is a past life reading spread. So it talks about drawing 5 cards face down, disposed left to right in a line. If it's not precise enough, it says don't hesitate to draw another set of 5 cards and put them on top of the others. But I would say probably read the first one, and then if you need more information, lay down a second line, right? So this would be for if you want to see what is a past life that is impacting me right now, right? And so then you would lay your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at how beautiful they are. They're just stunning. So the first position is about the context, the environment in some way, that kind of information. And so I'm not sure how you would figure this out here, but this is about love, stability, a new life, new beginning of a life, perhaps, certainly a happy place. But you know, you have to also trust your intuition. So for me, it's maybe the city of love, right? This could be in Italy or France or something along that, wherever you kind of think of those areas if you want to think about. But it can also be the context, and I would read it more there. So whatever the past life that you're tapping into, for me that would indicate, okay, we're looking at this past life in conjunction with the love life or the relationship within that somehow is still impacting you today. So the context is about a relationship. The second one is the identity or the personality, who you were, it talks about. And here we have somebody who is looking for, finding secrets, right? We have the 21st card where they're pulling, it's the solving of the riddle. There's a mystery. There's somebody who thinks smart, who's always thinking, who is trying to find the light, who is trying to find the hidden passageway behind there. So you kind of get a feel for that person's personality. They're probably using their brain a lot, probably a little too much. Hasn't changed much past life to this brain, right? So they have that kind of, you can kind of get a context of what this personality type was. The third card represents events, the situation more or less important, of surrounding relationship here. And here we do have the black cat. And that's interesting is that this is a card about needing independence. So we can almost see as if that this person in this relationship in this past life, a person has felt smothered perhaps, has felt as if they need to find an escape passageway. Maybe the relationship was too restricting and was not, they needed to find, or they were so much involved themselves in that other person in the relationship that they didn't have any autonomy, they didn't live their own life. And so in this current life, that need to live your own life might be very strong because you didn't have that in that past, and that you need to be independent would show up then. So that certainly makes sense. The fourth position will be your surroundings, people that are around you, wealth. So this is inheritance, wealth, acquisition. So certainly this was a family, a wealthy family, right? Things that went well. And then the last one represents the karma that links between these two existences. What is it you're passing on? And it is the eternal rest. So there is a sense of transformation, spiritual death and transformation that is connecting, this need to revamp, perhaps break those ties of being smothered by perhaps a family that had a lot of wealth and was very restrictive, and perhaps, because we're thinking past life here, right? We can build the story. Perhaps, you know, it was an arranged marriage, it was very restricted, it was a marriage of money and convenience, and this middle card standing out here is that need for independence, is really having to transform who you were in this past life into being a much more stronger, independent person in this life. You know, again, this is just kind of interesting to see, but I think that's quite lovely. I think these cards speak well, or speak, I can hear them. They aren't laying there flat. They seem to have a beautiful voice. So there you have it. This has been a look, thank you Miss Christine, of the Cartes Divinatoires de Algariel. I looked this up, and this would be sort of the Algariel divination cards is what you probably would call this in English. I don't know. This didn't translate as anything, so I don't know if that is a place or what that particularly stands for. I'm going to go back and watch Miss Christine's video on it, which I will have a link to below, and see if she gives any more information, because she speaks French. I'm 99.9% sure. I say that and I'm like, yeah, I believe that she is French. So, so there we have it. There we have it. I'm really excited about these. I'm really, these definitely just get all excited about these cards. So I hope that you have enjoyed this and a little bit of a poem break. And I wish you guys all a wonderful day.